What's up, family? A huge and urgent show as we get to speak. Now, here is the urgency. Do you realize the Eagles could go from the 1 to the 5 and 3? They could go from the number 1 seed in the NFC East all the way down to the 5 seed in the NFC, not just the East, rather, in 3 hours Sunday night. Eagles, Cowboys, whole game, whole world watching. Big time, prime time matchup. Now, as you can see behind me, Eagles are currently the 1 seed, but let's assume the Cowboys win and all the other favorites win. Well, just like that, the Eagles would go from the 1 seed all the way down to the 5 seed. It's a big game, big matchup, big show. Let's get to the desk. Eagles all-time rushing leader, LeSean Shady McCoy. I do not want to hesitate any longer. This is your squad. It's Sunday, primetime game, whole world watching, must-win game for the Philadelphia Eagles.
It's a must-win, huh? We got smoked, right? Last week. We got smoked, right? Eagle pack everywhere. So we gotta respond. Hey, we lost the game, cool, right? I don't care about how we lost, the fashion we lost, the points, all that. We lost the game. How do you respond, though? What would be bigger than going to Dallas, to the big D, folks, and get a big win?
Talk about it.
Right? And then you talked about all the playoff situations as far as the seedings.
Yes, sir.
The seeding stands. And right now, we are number 1 still. We are number 1 in the NFC East. We are number 1 in the NFC, the whole conference in general. So if we win this game, we stay there.
Talk about it.
No matter if the Niners do this or not.
Yeah.
So I just feel like right now, it's a must win. We need our best.
Yes.
To be that best in Texas.
Yes.
And we need Jalen Hurts to be the Jalen Hurts that we love.
Come on
we need
now.
A.J. Brown.
Talk about it,
top 3 right now.
Talk about it,
to go off.
Go off.
We're going to need Devontae Smith. Heisman to play super big. Hassan Reddick, are you out there?
What are you going to do?
Because we need you, baby.
Baby.
Big play Slay.
Big play Slay.
You lock stuff down.
I just called you, Slay.
CeeDee Lamb said he's like that, and he is.
He is.
So was big time Slay.
Yes, sir.
Bradbury. They said you was trash.
They said he was trash.
I don't believe it.
I didn't see it.
Was he all pro, Joy?
Me neither.
Was he all pro?
He was all pro.
Be all pro against Dallas Cowboys
It's hard to
Sunday.
take. Yes, sir.
I won't go to the whole team.
You don't have to.
Before I get done. Lane Johnson.
Lane Johnson.
When you play, we win. Jason Kelsey.
Jason Kelsey, that's a Hall of Famer.
Should I stop?
Don't stop.
Fletcher Cox.
Fletcher Cox, where you at?
You not show up, and you my brother. You just show up.
Yeah.
And then the last, and not
one.
least, the last.
Shady.
Lord. Jalen Carter. Ooh. You a beast.
Yeah, first round.
First round. You dominated in Georgia. Now you dominated in the NFL.
What about Swift, though?
Rookie defense player of the year. That's going to be who he is.
What about Swift, though?
And then DeAndre
my
Swift.
God, DeAndre
goodness. The Eagles are not the same team unless DeAndre Swift goes off.
Talk about it.
So to wrap all that up.
Wrap it up.
In the box, put the bow on it. Send it to Dallas, UPS,
FedEx, whatever.
We need y'all to dominate, baby. Get this big win. Let's go.
Say amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Can I get an amen?
Hey, we need Shady warmed up.
Joy, must-win game for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, it is. It is a must-win game. You know how I feel about these. You know how I feel about this verbiage. No, they're not out of the playoffs. No, the season is not over if they lose this game. It is not a literal must-win game for the Philadelphia Eagles. They have done enough this year to secure that. But if they want to stay in the driver's seat in the NFC, if they want to stay in the driver's seat in this division, they need to win this game. And if they want for that game against the Niners, that beatdown against the Niners, to not matter that much, go handle business in Dallas. Because right now it feels looming. It is this dark cloud surfacing over Philadelphia and the future of the Eagles this season. It feels so big that they lost. But not just lost in that fashion. You want to erase all that? You want to make that just a bad week? Go beat a very, very good Dallas team that is rolling right now, that is excellent at home, that has an MVP candidate at quarterback, a Super Bowl winning coach, an excellent defense. Go set the tone, beat them, win the season series, and sweep and remove all doubt that in this division that you're in the driver's seat. So from that perspective, it has to be a must-win for the Eagles.
Let me see if I can do my
You need a rock for this?
Get the rock. Let
me see if I can do my best Shady impression. Is this a must win? How Shady do it?
Yeah.
You better believe it, man. You just got blown out. We always talk about you have not played your consistent football all year long. Now you're going to say we lose to the Niners in a beatdown and we go on the road and lose 2 games in a row? One to a division opponent in the Dallas Cowboys. This is a must-win. Number one, it's a must-win because even if you lose this game, the Niners go to the number 1 seed, right? So it's going to be tough to catch the San Francisco 49ers. You still may win the division because the division is in your hands because all you got to do is beat the Giants twice. That's going to happen. So even if the Cowboys win this, the Eagles still have an excellent chance to win this division. True. But what they don't have an excellent chance to do is get the number 1 seed because now that goes to the Niners and you hoping and praying the Niners lose. Yep. Which means if you do make the postseason, not if you do, when you do make the postseason, the game ain't in the link. The game is in the Bay. And you don't want to go to the Bay. This is a must-win. And Shady started it off excellent.
We going back.
The big timers got to show up.
Got to show
right?
up.
For the Philadelphia Eagles, the only person consistently all season long that's been balling is A.J. Brown. It's time for everybody else to put this thing together and put together a really good football game and go win this game. Because if they don't, they're going to find a way to lose back-to-back football.
Y'all preaching. Can I take the anchor and just try to bring it home? It's a must-win game because it's a must-get-Hurts healthy season. People not talking enough about that. Shady brought it up a little bit yesterday. It's a must-win game because it's a must-get-Hurts healthy season. Jalen Hurts is not 100% healthy. How do we know that? Last game against the 49ers, he had 1 design run for -2 yards. When they played the 49ers in the playoffs, when they won, he had 11 carries for 39 yards. That's the difference in the ball game. Now, last game, he had 7 carries for 20 yards, but those weren't all design runs. But even still, that's a 50% decrease in Jalen Hurts rushing output. It's a must-get-Hurts healthy season. Now, here's a dilemma. If you lose to the Cowboys, you have to play Jalen Hurts the entirety of the rest of the season just to ensure you get the NFC East 1 seed. Not the NFC 1 seed. If you lose to the Cowboys, you'll still get the 1 if you win out. But that means you got to play Jalen Hurts for the rest of the season just to win the NFC East, not to win the NFC. You're still not getting a bye if you lose to the Cowboys because now you don't control your own destiny. Now the Niners do and the Lions to some degree do. So it's a must-get-Hurts healthy season. The only way you can get Hurts healthy is if you win. Because if you win, now you got a 2-game lead up on the Cowboys. So now you have a decision to make. At a minimum, you'll win the NFC East. So you can chill. Jalen Hurts, sit week 18. We'll win the NFC East. We'll either be the 3 seed or the 2 seed. We Gucci. If the Niners drop 1, okay, now maybe Jalen Hurts. We can sit you week 18 and we'll get the bye. But the only way to ensure you can get Jalen Hurts healthy is if you beat the Cowboys on Sunday night. So for me, it's a must win because you must get Hurts healthy. But Shady, let's talk the real talk. Cowboys are on a hot streak right now. 4 games in a row. Couple blowouts. Couple 40-point games. Got 4 40-point games in the last 6 games. Eagles coming off their worst game of the season. They've been trailing at halftime, I believe, the last 5 games. But they've only lost 1. You're the Eagles' all-time rushing leader. Incredibly hard to do. Who you got more confidence in, though, big dog? Cowboys or Eagles? Don't think too long.
More confidence?
Yes, sir.
I'm going with the Eagles. Yeah, I want the Eagles. You know why? We're I would say we're more battle tested, right? Even though we got smoked by the Niners, we're more battle tested. We played more tougher teams, and we found ways to win, even if we didn't play well. That's why James said that a couple weeks ago that we're the best team in football. That's how we were playing.
We all did.
So I'll say this. I think the Cowboys are a really, really good team. Man, they're so talented. They fight to the end, right? But I just think that when the game gets tough and we need clutch moments, you can say what you want about Jalen Hurts, man. But he's going to show up. That's one thing about it.
No doubt.
So the game gets tough, the moment gets big, the lights get bright.
He gets better.
And he gets better.
True.
And if we can find a way to get that, Jalen, the whole game, get our defense playing aggressive again, tackling, all them small things that we haven't been doing like we did last week, we didn't do. And then start the drives off early. I think we'll see a Philadelphia team that's come out that's desperate. Let's come out to prove something, right? Everything you read from all the interviews and articles from all the players is all about starting early. You know, let's putting our thing down, letting this team know we're going to be here for a long day. Where I felt with the Niners, we didn't do that. We had a chance to do that. We moved the ball up down the field. We got field goals. I think we'll see a different team come out here and get touchdowns. And the last point, When I watched that Seahawks game against the Cowboys, that encouraged me to feel like, okay, we have a big chance. Before I thought it was going to be a real close one just because the Cowboys, they're playing on a hot streak. But nah, when I watched that game, it gave me encouragement. Yeah, let a 6-5 Seahawks team battle with y'all. Yeah. Seriously, though. So when I look at this, we're going to run the ball well because our running back is really good, right? And I think Jalen Hurts is going to be that MVP type player that we've been seeing, right, over the years. And then we're going to ball. Yeah. So, listen. My money on them Birds, man. I hope to see my boy Slim right here.
Oh, no.
And Shady gonna be right here.
Oh, no.
Let me turn this on its head real quick, Joy and James. You can hear Slim's echo from a distance. Shady said the Eagles are more battle-tested. Yeah. For the first time, I had a thought. Battles prepare you, but battles also wound you. So the Eagles are more battle-tested, but you could also say that the Eagles are more wounded. Yeah. I mean, think about it. Think about what those battles have left the Philadelphia Eagles. To some degree, at least mentally, wounded. 42-19. You got to overcome that. Joy Taylor, James Jones. James, you go first. Who are you more confident in?
You know, this is easy for me, because there's no reason why the San Francisco 49ers should have went into the link last week against a 10-1 Philadelphia Eagles football team favored, right? The only reason they went into that football game favored on the road against the number 1 team in the National Football League is because everybody with their own 2 eyes has seen the way the Philadelphia Eagles has played football this season.
Oh, no.
So for me, when you talk about more confidence, over this stretch that Dak is playing at an MVP level,
I'm waiting.
The Dallas Cowboys are a better football team. They've been playing better football than the Philadelphia Eagles. So right now, at this point in the season, going into Sunday Night Football, I have more confidence in the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott and Coach Mike McCarthy than I do with the Philadelphia Eagles, strictly on how they are playing football in between them lines. The Philadelphia Eagles for 13 weeks have not played consistent football. The Dallas Cowboys last 8-9 weeks have been pure dominant playing consistent football. So more confidence, I'm going with the team that's playing the best football right now, and that is the Dallas Cowboys.
James on that Cowboys juice.
Yeah. He does playing what? And then we'll win. He'll be back on us. He does that.
Maybe. We'll see how the show goes.
It was I'm in between on this. I know that's a cop-out, but I really don't have confidence either way in either of these teams right now. The Eagles are obviously coming off of a really bad loss to a really good team at home. To James's point, they were underdogs, and we all thought that was crazy. And it turned out if you took that, you were covered pretty substantially. But the Cowboys haven't beaten anyone. The Seahawks is the best win that they have as far as opponent goes this season. I know that sounds outrageous because they have beaten teams down, but those were not good teams. The Seahawks was their best opponent win this season, and as Shady just pointed out, they battled with them. Now, that might say something about what the Seahawks are more than what the Cowboys are, but because the Cowboys won, but that was a close game. That wasn't no blowout. They weren't kicking the Seahawks around the way that they did everybody else.
Not at all.
But the Eagles are coming off a really bad loss. We have a lot of questions about them. Jalen Hurts isn't fully healthy. They're not utilizing him the way that he can be utilized to his highest level. And the defense has been struggling a bit as well. So I really don't have pure confidence in either of these teams. It's easy to say you're confident in Dallas, but then you're just leaving out the times that Dallas didn't play well against the Niners and haven't beaten a really strong opponent this season. This will be their signature win of the season if the Cowboys beat the Eagles. Yeah. If the Eagles drop to the Cowboys, it's changed their entire season because now they're out of the driver's seat and they're depending on other people in order to stay at the top of the division and stay at the top of the NFC. And the way that they look coming off last week, it is perfectly reasonable to question what they're going to do in this game on the road against a Dallas team that is excellent at home. So I'm right down the middle. I don't know what to expect from this game. If the Eagles beat the Cowboys again, I would not be surprised. If the Cowboys beat the Eagles, I wouldn't be surprised based off of where we are at this point in the season. On top of the fact that the Dallas offense has been playing really well and the Eagles defense has been struggling a bit. Jalen Hurts' offense doesn't look exactly the same with him, and the Cowboys defense has been vulnerable throughout this year in different positions as well. So I think this is a great, very equal matchup, despite the fact that if you look surfacely at what the Cowboys have done the past few weeks, it's very easy to say that they would do exactly what the Niners did.
Can I try to convince you?
Sure.
Can I convince you?
Yeah, please help me.
168. The Cowboys' point differential this season is 168. The difference in margin between the Cowboys and their opponents as it pertains to the score is 168 points. That's a lot of touchdowns. I don't know 168 divided by 7, but it's plus 20. I think it's about 23, 24. It's a lot of touchdowns. I just did that in my head. Somebody tell me if I was right. So with that being said, the Eagles' point differential, Joy Taylor, it's only 41. You play who you play. Why not be more confident in the team that has a 168-point differential, that's won 4 straight games, that's put up 40 points in 4 of their last 6 games, versus the Eagles team that hasn't done it all season?
Because this isn't college. The wins at the end of the year count all the same. How many wins you got, how many wins you got. And then how many wins against your division do you got? And how many wins in conference do you got? At no point are we going to, okay, well, this was a more impressive win than this win, and common opponent, they did this. This is the NFL. So put who against who. And I don't like to do that because you play who you play. But if you're asking me to have confidence, if you're asking me what I think is going to happen in the game, which is what we're doing, then I have to look at what you did against who and where were you getting these points? We can pull statistics all the time, and we do. And, it's fun to add that to your argument. I do it all the time, and it supports things. But sometimes they actually matter. So when it comes to the Cowboys, yes, they have looked excellent. But what are you going to do against a real opponent? And they can prove it this weekend. Like, I'm not saying they're not going to do that, because maybe they are a different team than they were when they played the Niners earlier in the season. Maybe they are a different team than they were when they played the Cardinals and we're blaming everybody else for their problems. Maybe they're a different team now, but we haven't seen that. So basically, you're predicting this, but the point differential, yeah, they put up 40 against the Giants, but multiple times they've blown people out.
And knowing that, and you asked that question, but you don't believe in the Cowboys like that either, right?
No. I'm more confident in the Cowboys this week, but I don't believe in the Cowboys like that.
I know, but overall, right? So you don't believe hold on.
Talk to me, 2-5. Talk to me, 2-5.
The Dolphins, you don't believe in them, right?
No, I believe in them like I believe in the Cowboys.
Okay.
Same box.
Okay. So you don't really believe in the Cowboys or the Dolphins, but you believe in the Cowboys this week against the Eagles.
Yes, sir. Can I clarify? Because I don't want this clipped off.
Yeah.
Until I see the Cowboys beat a good team and the Dolphins beat a good team, I don't believe in them to win the Super Bowl. Just want to make sure I clarify.
The Super Bowl.
Correct.
Okay, but the Eagles, they beat good teams.
I still believe in the Eagles to win a Super Bowl.
Oh, wait, hold on.
I still believe in the Eagles to win a Super Bowl.
You a smart dude. Hold up. So you believe the Eagles can win a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
But you believe the Cowboys and Dolphins can't?
Not until they beat a good team.
So right now, you don't think so?
Yes, sir.
But you think they got a better chance this weekend?
Yes, sir. I think the Eagles are wounded.
Okay.
I think the Eagles. I don't hunt. But a lot of my Eagles teammates, they hunted, and you often hear about those wounded animals. Yeah. I think the Eagles right now are wounded. I think that there is blood in the water. Yeah. I think defensively they're wounded. I think their offensive coordinator wounded. I think you can pounce on the Eagles right now because they are wounded. They are a wounded animal in a jungle, and the Cowboys are prey, and they see in them. Predators. And the Cowboys are predators, and they just see in the Eagles right now, and they're wounded. That's why I think the Eagles are susceptible.
Yeah, I was just watching Predator.
So hold on really quick. So you believe in the Eagles that they can win a Super Bowl, and you don't believe in the Cowboys that they can win a Super Bowl, but you believe in the Cowboys this week to beat the Eagles.
Yes.
So you believe the Eagles could go into the playoffs and beat the Niners with what we watching with our own 2 eyes right now on tape?
I'm glad you brought this up. If the Cowboys beat the Eagles, I will say I believe in the Cowboys to be able to win a Super Bowl.
Okay.
Only reason I don't believe in the Cowboys, I believe that what you do in the regular season matters. That's where I'm a little different than a lot of people. If the Cowboys can beat the Eagles, then I'm like, then they can beat them again. But if they can't beat no playoff teams, I can't sit here and say that I believe in their 40-point wins. I don't just yet. But here's my question before we go to break. Joy, I'll leave with you. I don't want to disrespect the Eagles and compare them to the Vikings because we don't think highly of the Vikings.
Don't do that.
So I don't do that. Even though the Vikings started really well last year. I'm going to jump a couple years back. At what point will we look at the Eagles like the 2020 Pittsburgh Steelers? We respect Tomlin. We respect Big Ben. So that should not be nearly as offensive. Those Pittsburgh Steelers started off 11-0. They finished 12-4. They lost a wild card game because Big Ben threw 4 picks. They lost a wild card game to the Browns. Big Ben struggled the majority of that season.
Yes, he did.
So we knew he'd be throwing picks. He got to the playoffs. He threw picks.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, as it pertains to Jalen Hurts, has struggled the majority of the season. More often than Jalen Hurts last year, he's been throwing picks. So I wouldn't be surprised if you went to the playoffs and threw picks. At what point, and I'm starting with you, Joy, because you know the Steelers better than anybody.
Yeah.
At what point will you look at this Eagles team? If they lose again, and now they're 10-3, 2 consecutive losses. Steelers started at 11-0, then they had 3 consecutive losses. At what point might you look at this Eagles team like that really, really good Steelers 2020 team?
Yeah, thank you for bringing up old stuff, by the way. We had such a great segment. I would wait until the end of the season. Like, I would have to see it in the playoffs because this, unlike that team, this team was in the Super Bowl and won the NFC last year. And Jalen Hurts, as recently as last year, played at an all-pro level. Big Ben, we know, has been was like this for a while at the end of his career. So I don't know how many of us were completely shocked, maybe more irritated that it was the Browns that beat the Steelers, but particularly shocked that that's how that game went when you watched how the end of that season went. Yes, obviously they were on an incredible run during the regular season, but things fell apart down the stretch. So I don't know that I would go that far. I'd have to see more from the Eagles. Like, they've just lost, and they're still at the top of the NFC. And if they compile losses, if they lose to the Cowboys and they struggle down the stretch, then yes, that would add more information to saying that they're much more similar to that team. But that team wasn't at that height that the Eagles were just a few months ago last season to then come down to where the Steelers were playing. I just don't think we have enough information yet. See,
I was in this situation that the Philadelphia Eagles are in right now. We won the Super Bowl in 2010, right, as the 6th seed. The very next season, we were 15-1. But we were not playing good football. We weren't playing good football. We entered into these playoffs not with a lot of confidence playing good football like we were playing earlier in the season, beating some teams. We were not a confident bunch. And every single week, we're like, we're going to get to ourselves next week. We're going to get to ourselves the next. And we never fixed the problems. It never changed. That's who we were as a football team late in that stretch, and we lost in the playoffs. That's why I keep saying all I see with Philadelphia when I turn the tape on is them not playing their best football. And it's been 13 weeks, and it's coming out of the locker room and the players. I don't know if that changes overnight. And I'm not saying they're going to lose the rest of their games, but when you get into these playoffs, I don't know if you're going to be able to rack off 3 in a row because you have not been playing consistent football all season long.
Yeah, that comp is probably closer because the Steelers were 8-8 the year before that. So coming from a higher point, that's why, to me, the Eagles have more equity during the regular season than perhaps that Steelers team. Like, you're not coming from a high like that. We've recently seen what Jalen Hurts is capable of, particularly when he's healthy. And look, we don't like to add the health thing into things, especially while the season's going, because if you're playing, you're expected to play at the level that you're capable of. But we all know Jalen Hurts isn't fully healthy.
Yeah.
And that's playing a part in their success this year.
The Eagles are already trying to do the unthinkable. I believe it's only the 1970 Cowboys and the 2017 Patriots who lost the Super Bowl and returned back to the Super Bowl. So we're already trying to witness the Philadelphia Eagles do something that you rarely ever see in sports, and they got to beat the Cowboys to make sure they can keep the trend going.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.